Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we are setting up September in my bullet journal and the theme that I chose was coffee. Even though I love coffee and everything related to it, I didn't have the opportunity to make a theme about it, so why not do it for September? I usually relate my themes to the seasons, for example, Halloween for October, spring in March, summer in July. So, since autumn begins in September, but it's still kinda hot, at least here in Portugal, I decided to go with coffee to get the autumn vibes instead of doing an autumn theme like leaves and pumpkins and such. I knew that I wanted coffee to be the theme, but I didn't know how I was going to do it. I thought of drawing little cups and things like that, but I wasn't really in a drawing mood, so I went with my usual route that's surprise, surprise, collages. I went through my stationery collection and I put together a bunch of papers, stickers, and washi tapes that I wanted to use. And I actually ignored my own rule in scrapbooking that's only using a few items to keep things consistent and more easy to do. And I used everything that I had on my desk. I was very skeptic about how the setup was going to turn out because I had low expectations. I think I'm in a journaling slump. I'm not just very inspired lately, but it's probably because I don't like summer and I'm always exhausted with the heat waves and the sweating, and I'm so over it. I really want autumn to arrive. So, I went on a little tangent there, but this is to say that even though I didn't have expectations for this theme, I actually love how it turned out. It really put the binding in this journal to the test, and so far so good, so a little props to Tifosi. So, a little bit about the materials that I'm using. Most of them are from Journal Say, like the ephemera, papers, and things like that, and the washi tapes are from EB. As usual, I'll leave all the links and discount codes to everything that I can find in the description box down below. And now for my technique, I pretty much just went for it. My go-to is putting first a big piece of paper or ephemera in the background, and that's going to serve as a base for the rest of the stationery. In this case, I used the book page for that. Then I went with a few pattern papers and I put them in each corner. And then I just put some washi tapes and a few more ephemera to cover the empty spots and give this layered style that I love. I also used some stamps with coffee stains and things like that to give a little something, and I love how it turned out. Sometimes a minimal collage is beautiful, but this really maximalist and more layered style is so much fun. You can literally just put down anything, and in the end it looks on purpose and it looks great. For the title, I tried to mimic this photo that I saw on Pinterest. That was pretty much my whole inspiration for this theme. It's by Kate from Journal with Kate, and this font is so beautiful. I don't actually know if it's an actual font or just a style of lettering that she did, but I tried to do it and I love it. I used a Pentel Fude Touch brush sign pen in this dark brown, and as I said before, it's one of my favorite pens for lettering. I used my sticker paper to put a white background on both the coffee sticker and the title to make them pop against the layered background. And to give some final touches, I drew some little coffee beans here and there with this Zebra Sarasa in the color brown gray, just because I wanted to try it since this pen is new in my collection. And I have to say that drawing coffee beans in this loose style is so easy. A little later I'm going to show you more up close so you can see it. And now for the quote page, I decorated all around the page to create a little frame around the quote, and I chose this one. With enough coffee, anything is possible. I love this quote because for me it's literally this. After I drink my cappuccino or my latte, anything with coffee, I feel so much better than I did before, and it really motivates me and helps me keeping focus on the task. As part of my routine, I drink every day a cappuccino at my work, even on summer. And if so, for some reason I don't, I feel weird. It's like I'm missing something. And for context, I don't drink black coffee. It's very bitter, so I only drink things with coffee. And instead of making me feel super active and energetic, it makes me relax but still be very focused. I made a little mistake on the word coffee, so I covered it up with a little piece of paper that I had from a Dutch door or something that I did on the journal and wrote again. I could go over it with a white paint marker, but since it was a bigger space, it's easier to cover all of it with a piece of paper. So don't throw away the scrap pieces of paper that you have lying around after a setup. It comes in handy sometimes. With the cover spread done, let's move on to the calendar. For this spread, I'm using the photo that I showed you before for inspiration. So I'm going to decorate both sides of the spread and I'm making the calendar right in the middle. And instead of ripping the paper to give a torn edge, I decided to cut it straight and then I'm going to put some decoration on top of it. I think it looks much more cleaner with this really harsh edge and it makes the calendar pop even though the sides are quite heavy on decoration. Also, for some reason, I calculated wrong the rows on the calendar, so I'm missing a few days, but I'll fix that in a minute. For the numbers on the calendar, I'm using the Kumimi journal pens from Ohuhu. These have a dot nib and also a tiny brush nib on the other end, which is also great for lettering. And I'm alternating between two colors to give some contrast and dynamic on the calendar. For this whole setup, I'm not using black fine liners. I'm using the Sarasa pen for everything that requires an outline. This month, my math was clearly lacking, or should I say, every day, because I also messed up the counting on the columns and I gave an extra dot space in the Monday column. So, to not be so noticeable, instead of making separate bars for each day, as was my initial plan, on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on and so forth row, I decided to color the whole row instead of making gaps between each day. I don't know if that made any sense, but I'm talking about the space that I colored in beige on top of the calendar. Then, as I said previously, I decorated the two sides with the ephemera, paper, washi tapes and stamps that I used in the cover spread, and after that I just put some coffee stickers on each corner to continue the theme, of course, and I sprinkled some coffee beans here and there to give the final touches. Let's continue on to the task spread, and I was actually really surprised that the dot markers bled through the page. Usually that doesn't happen, and I used the markers before on the same paper, but I guess this dark brown color was more juicy or saturated and it bled through. But it's not the end of the world, we can fix that with my handy dandy white paint marker, and it's like nothing happened. So for this spread, I wanted to keep it quite empty in the middle because this spread is like a structured brain dump. I make a list of my tasks for the month, like the videos for my channel and also a few designs that I'm making for my shop. And a little note here, I talked about this before and I say that I wanted to open my online store in January, but it really needs some work and dedication and I need time for it. So I think I'm going to open it more towards the end of 2026 so I can figure out all the things that need to be done. And I don't know if anyone was interested in that, but just wanted to let you know in case you were. Now back to the spread. I'm going to decorate the outside and keep the inside empty so I can actually write the tasks. And now let's move on to the weeklies. And this time I'm doing something that I haven't done before. This is basically a Dutch door in reverse, or at least that's what I'm calling it. Usually a Dutch door is made by cutting the sides of the spread and keeping the middle intact, so we can make the functional part on the middle and leave the sides for decoration. But this time I decided to decorate the middle and make the sides functional. And of course, for that I'm not cutting anything off the pages, but by making the same layout throughout all the weeks and decorating the middle in a similar style, it's going to give the illusion that you're seeing the same decoration in any spread, just like you see on a Dutch door. And this was the problem that I mentioned before that put the binding to the test. And that's because I'm using really thick paper and layering everything on top of each other right in the middle of the spread, so this was a challenge for the binding. But afterwards I'm going back with my X-Acto knife and cutting right in the middle to make sure the binding is not making so much force when the journal is closed. Was it a bad idea doing this? Maybe. Does it look good? Absolutely. So I guess it's worth it, but my advice is maybe use thinner paper. I really like the detail that the coffee beans doodles give to the decoration. They are so tiny, but I love how they put together the whole theme and they are very easy to do. Okay, so now after I wrote the days on each section, we can continue to the next weekly. And we are making the same thing again, functional part on the sides, decoration on the middle. I'm using the same technique over and over. I'm always starting with the book pages and moving forward with the rest of the papers, ephemera, washi tapes, and last but not least, the stamps and doodles. And it's pretty much it for the weekly, so I'll leave you with some music for now. The weeklies are pretty much done, so let's go back with my X-Acto knife and let's fix that binding. Next, we have my last and sometimes important spread, which is my brain dump. This is a spread that sometimes I use a lot, sometimes I don't, but I like to have it just in case. And this is really similar to task spread, but instead of having a structure to it, I don't make lists or anything like that. I just write anything that's on my mind. It could be thoughts, feelings, ideas, or random notes. And just like the other spread, I'm decorating the outside of it and keeping the middle empty. This time I went a little overboard. I shouldn't have gone so much into the middle with the decoration, but what's done is done, and I can still use that part just fine, even though it could be bigger, but oh well. I tried to use more stickers this time just because I wanted to feel more this spread since it's not so functional in the way that I use the other spreads. I just come to this one when I need it, so I can be a little bit more maximalist in here. For the title, I did the same thing again. I used the sticker paper to write the title, and when I cut it, it has this nice white background and border all around it that makes it pop against the really busy decoration below it. This time I wrote the titles separately because I wanted to layer a word on top of each other instead of just gluing it in a line. I think it gives more depth to the spread and it looks good, so it's okay. And that's it for this setup. It's time for the final flip through. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give a like, subscribe and comment down below a coffee cup emoji to let me know you watched it till the end. Honestly, this might be one of my favorite setups that I did so far. It combines things that I love, which are the coffee and the scrapbooking style, so it's a recipe for success. My mom is a tea girl and I'm a coffee girl, so let me know what you like, tea or coffee or maybe both. I don't like tea, but maybe in the future I can do a tea theme for my mom, who knows. I hope you have a lovely day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you on the next one after my vacation, since you are seeing this while I'm relaxing. So, bye!